Chapter 1: Redefining what it means to invest. Everyone talks about investing, but most people don't know what it actually means. They think investing is just buying something and waiting for it to go up. Buy a stock, watch the chart, hope it grows. That's not investing. That's gambling with better marketing. Here's the truth. Poor people think investing means using money to make more money. Wealthy people know investing is using anything you control, time, energy, relationships, to produce returns. No bank required, no app needed, just intent and direction. You're investing every day, whether you know it or not. You spend time watching a TV show. That's an investment. You eat junk food that slows you down. That's an investment too, with a bad return. The real question isn't, should I invest? It's, what kind of investor am I already being? Look at your week. Where does your time go? Who do you talk to? What do you learn? How does your body feel? Each of those things pays you or robs you. And unlike the stock market, the returns here are daily. Let's get clear on what separates real investing from chasing gains. Example 1. You buy a house and rent it out. You calculate the income, expenses, and returns over 10 years. You've mapped the outcome before the money leaves your account. That's investing. Now the second example. You hear about a hot stock tip. You buy in, you watch the graph, you hope. That's not investing. That's playing roulette with better graphics. So, what makes the difference? Planning, control, repetition. Investing is boring when it's done right. It's building systems that work whether or not you feel like it. It's placing resources into something that gives back, predictably, not instantly, not magically, but reliably. You invest in your health when you cook instead of order fast food. You invest in your network when you help someone without asking for anything. You invest in your skills when you spend an hour practicing, not scrolling. Each of these creates value. That's the foundation. So let's go deeper. The wealthy think in assets, not activities. Going to the gym isn't just self-care. It's protecting their most valuable tool, their energy. Meeting someone new isn't just social. It's a chance to build trust, which might lead to opportunity. Reading isn't just relaxing. It's downloading decades of experience in hours. This is the real game. Investing isn't just stocks, crypto, or real estate. It's how you use what you already have. Let's break this down into categories of capital. You have time, you have attention, you have relationships, you have skills. You might not have money, but you have these, and they matter more, especially in the beginning. People who wait until they have money before investing lose years. People who start investing their time wisely build leverage. They grow faster. They spot opportunity sooner. They're already in motion when money catches up. So ask yourself, what return are you getting on your time? Would you buy shares in the way you spend your day? Would a stranger invest in how you treat your energy? If not, it's time to adjust the portfolio. Here's a shift you need to make. Stop thinking like a consumer. Start thinking like a builder. Don't ask, what can I buy? Ask, what can I grow? Don't ask, how much is this? Ask, what does this produce? You don't need a bank account to start investing. You need a scoreboard and a plan. If you're willing to change how you see your time, your energy, and your focus, your financial life will change too. Most people think Warren Buffett got rich by buying stocks. That's only half the story. He didn't get rich by jumping on trends or buying tips from strangers. He got rich by buying businesses, owning them, improving them, holding them long enough to see results. You're not watching an investor, you're watching a builder who uses the stock market as a tool. He's not buying lottery tickets. He's building a machine. When most people hear investing, they picture buying Apple or Tesla, but they don't understand the business behind the ticker. They don't look at earnings, systems, or customer loyalty. They just want the line to go up. This is why so many people lose. They follow moves, not models. They play checkers while the wealthy play chess. Think of it like this. You buy a share of a company, but what did you really buy? Did you buy a piece of the profits, or did you buy the fear of missing out? Owning stock without understanding the business is like buying a racehorse because it has a cool name. It sounds smart, but you don't know if it can run. Let's flip the perspective. Instead of asking what stock to buy, ask what company you would build. What problem would it solve? How would it make money? Who would it serve? Now imagine that someone else built that exact company. Would you invest? If yes, then you found a company worth owning. This is how real investors think. They start with understanding. They think like builders. They know the engine before they buy the car. Here's another trap. People copy the portfolios of rich investors without copying their discipline. They see Buffett owns Coca-Cola and think, I should buy Coke too, but they don't understand why he bought it. They don't read the reports. They don't study the leadership. They just chase the result, not the reasoning. This never works. You're not just buying stock. You're buying a story. You're buying a system. You're buying into someone else's ability to keep delivering value. If you wouldn't buy the whole business, don't buy the stock. The passive path is about more than chasing returns. It's about understanding the machine behind the money. Think about businesses you already know, your local coffee shop, your favorite clothing brand, your go-to app. Would you want to own a piece of them? Why or why not? This is how you train your brain to invest like the wealthy. You stop looking at prices. You start looking at patterns. You stop trying to guess. You start trying to understand. It's not about fast money. It's about predictable returns. And that comes from ownership thinking. Builders think long-term. Gamblers think in minutes. You can't play both sides. You need to choose. So here's the challenge. Start thinking like an owner. Every time you buy something, ask yourself, could I own the company that made this? Would I want to? If not, why? This one question will change how you see the world. And when you start seeing the world like an investor, you stop chasing trends. You start building wealth. Imagine you have $30,000 saved up. You dream of opening a small restaurant. You find a busy location. You plan the menu. You handle the design. You even plan to run it yourself. This feels like investing, but it's not. But it's not. It's creating a job for yourself. You're not buying freedom. You're buying responsibility. Now you wake up every day worrying about rent, staff, inventory, and sales. You're the owner, the manager, the investor, and the employee. That's not wealth. That's overload. You didn't invest in a business. You became the business. And if the business fails, you lose everything. Your time, your energy, your money. All gone. This is what happens when you mix identity with investment. Instead of thinking like an investor, you become emotionally attached. You stop thinking in terms of risk and return. You start thinking in terms of pride and pressure. Wealthy people don't do this. They separate who they are from what they invest in. They fund businesses. They don't become them. If the business succeeds, great. If it fails, they move on, because their money works for them. They don't work for their money. Let's break this down with an example. You meet someone with a great business idea. They need capital. You offer funding in exchange for a percentage of profits. You're not running the business. You're not managing the team. You're not cleaning the floor. You're funding the machine and watching the output. If it performs, you profit. If it doesn't, you analyze and adjust. This is the role you want to play, not the one pushing the cart uphill, but the one who built the wheels and collected a fee for every turn. The difference is mental. Poor people think, how can I hustle to make money? Rich people ask, where can I place money to make it move? You don't have to start big. You just have to start smart. If you can't afford to fund a business yet, don't become one. Look for capital-free ways to learn, earn, and grow. Avoid building things that trap you. Build things that scale you. If your business needs you every day to survive, it's not an asset. It's a liability. The goal is to own something that runs without you. Or better yet, to own many things that run while you sleep. Think about this. Would you rather run a restaurant? Or would you rather fund 5 restaurants and get paid every month? Would you rather be the cook or the person collecting royalties? One requires your sweat. The other multiplies your insight. One pays you when you show up. The other pays you when you set things up right. Investors focus on systems, not shifts. They fund models, not moods. They avoid emotional attachment to outcomes. They measure, adjust, repeat. You don't need to be the operator forever. Eventually, you should be the allocator. The goal isn't to run faster. It's to build the track and charge others to use it. Every business you build should be designed to one day run without you. If it can't, it's not an investment. It's a job with a fancy title. This is how you escape the cycle. You stop trying to do everything. You start learning how to fund the right things, and slowly, the money begins to work harder than you do. Chapter 4. The 2 skills. Making money versus allocating capital. There are 2 core skills in wealth building. The first is making money. The second is allocating capital. Most people only learn the first. They know how to grind. They know how to earn a paycheck. They know how to start a hustle. But they never learn what to do once the money comes in. They earn, they spend, they repeat. No growth, no leverage, only motion. Wealthy people master both. They know how to generate income, and they know where to put it so it grows. They don't just make money, they make money do the work. Let's look closer. Making money is about output. It's about producing something valuable, a service, a product, a solution. It's the foundation of business. But allocating capital is about decisions. Where does the money go? What systems can it fuel? What risks are worth it? This is the invisible game, and it's where wealth compounds. If you only focus on making money, you stay in the labor loop. If you learn to allocate capital, you enter the wealth cycle. Here's a simple example. You sell handmade jewelry online. You work hard. You package every order. You earn a few $1,000s a month. That's income generation. But now you ask yourself, what can I do with this cash? You decide to run targeted ads. You outsource packaging. You hire a part-time assistant. You keep the brand, but free up your time. Now you're not just making money. You're turning money into freedom. That's allocation. Now take it further. You license your designs to a manufacturer. They produce, ship, and deliver. You take a percentage. This is no longer a hustle. It's a business system, and your capital made it possible. You moved from doing to directing. You stepped into the role of investor. Even if the business is yours, you treat it like an asset. You ask, how can I grow this with less of me? How can I turn today's income into tomorrow's leverage? The mindset shift is critical. At first, you need to earn. But once you have even a small surplus, your job is to allocate. Don't let the money sit idle. Don't spend it mindlessly. Make it go to work. Let's look at capital-free models. If you don't have money, you start with time and skill. You act as a middleman in real estate. You connect buyers and sellers. You take a commission. You didn't build a product. You didn't rent an office. You moved information. This is capital-light income. Then you reinvest the profits. Maybe you build a website that automates lead generation. Maybe you hire someone to help close deals. Now your money extends your time. This is the transition from labor to leverage. Another example, you grow an audience on a free platform. You share insights. You attract followers. Now brands want access to your audience. You earn from attention. No product, no warehouse, just digital presence. Then you reinvest in better content, better tools, better reach. Whether it's $10 or $10,000, the process is the same. You earn, you decide, you deploy, then you watch the returns, track what works, cut what doesn't, repeat. This is how real wealth is built, not just by earning more, but by placing what you earn into systems that grow without you. On the passive path, this is the difference we focus on, not just making money, but making your money productive. Because without this skill, you stay stuck in the cycle, and with it, you begin to escape. On the passive path, this is the difference we focus on, not just making money, but making your money productive. Because without this skill, you stay stuck in the cycle, and with it, you begin to escape. Wealthy people rarely use their own cash to grow wealth. They use other people's money. They borrow, they raise, they structure deals that limit their risk and expand their reach. You can too. Using other people's money isn't about being reckless. It's about knowing how capital flows and knowing how to direct it where it performs. You want to start a business but don't have funds. You have two options. Wait 5 years to save, or build a plan, find a backer, and start now. Most people wait. The smart ones prepare a pitch and start early. They understand money is always looking for somewhere to go, and capital likes clarity. Investors don't fund people with dreams. They fund people with direction. If you have a clear plan, if you know the numbers, if you can explain the risk, someone will back you. Think about real estate. You don't need to buy a house with your own cash. You get a loan. You pay a small down payment. You rent it out. The rent covers the mortgage. You own the asset. The bank provided the money. You keep the gains. That's using other people's money. Now apply that same thinking to business. You want to start a podcast. You get a sponsor to pay for your equipment and promotion. You give them ad space in return. They cover the cost. You control the asset. You earn from it. That's leverage. Here's another example. You partner with someone who has capital but no time. You have time but no capital. You bring the idea. They bring the funding. You agree to split profits. The project moves forward. You didn't need to save. You needed to connect. This is how deals are built. You don't have to own the whole pie. You just need a slice that grows, And over time, you collect more slices. That's the game. Wealthy people know this. They raise funds. They pitch investors. They offer equity. They protect their downside. They don't throw their savings into a risky bet. They structure deals so even if something fails, they're safe. You can learn this too. It starts by shifting how you think about money. Stop asking, how much do I have? Start asking, who needs a place to grow their capital? There are people with money sitting idle. They want returns. They just don't want to do the work. You become the operator. They become the investor. You both win. On the passive path, this is a core principle. Smart money finds its way to smart plans. If your plan is clear, your numbers are real, and your risk is limited, someone will say yes. And once you do this once, you can do it again. This is how empires scale. Not by spending your own cash, but by learning how to move capital without carrying the weight. That's how you grow without limits. You don't have to choose between being an entrepreneur and being an investor. You can be both. In fact, the most successful people are. They start as builders. They become allocators. At first, you create value with your time. Later, you create value with your capital. That's the path. You launch a product. You sell a service. You build a brand. That's business. Then you take the profits. You reinvest. You fund new ventures. You buy assets. That's investing. Same person, different roles. Think about it this way. When you build a product, you're creating value from scratch. When you buy a business, you're acquiring value that already exists. Both are valid. Both create wealth. You just need to know when to shift. Early on, you're the engine. You work, you push, you sell, you earn. But that stage has limits. You can only go so far on effort alone. Eventually, you hit a ceiling. Your time is capped. Your energy fades. That's when you need systems. You take the money you earned. You place it into assets that produce more money. You buy real estate. You invest in equity. You fund cash-flowing machines. Now your time is free, and your wealth grows faster than your effort. That's the transition from business owner to investor, from doing to directing, from income to leverage. You don't have to wait to start this shift. Even small profits can be reinvested. You launch an online course. It brings in $1,000 a month. You use that money to run ads for a digital product. You double your reach. Now you're not just earning, you're compounding. This is the investor mindset inside the business owner's life. On the passive path, this is how we level up, not by quitting one role, but by stacking them. You can sell your time while building systems. You can hustle while building equity. Just make sure you're always moving toward freedom. Every business should be designed to become an asset. One that runs with or without you. If it can't, it's not complete. You should always ask, how does this become investable? Would someone want to buy it? Would someone fund it? Would someone manage it without me? If the answer is yes, you've built a true asset. If not, keep shaping it. You can start as a solo founder, then bring on partners, then step back, then fund other founders. This is the arc. You start with labor. You end with capital. It's not either or. It's both. That's how you multiply. Chapter 7. You are the asset, but only if you know it. You don't need a factory. You don't need a warehouse. You don't need millions in the bank. You are the asset. Your skills, your knowledge, your experiences. your ability to solve problems. These are more valuable than cash if you know how to use them. Most people wait for money before they move. They think capital comes first. It doesn't. The first capital is you. You can write, you can speak, you can build, you can connect, you can learn. Each of these can be monetized. Each of these can become a system. Start with what you already have. You're good at explaining ideas. Turn it into a podcast. You're great at design. Offer services on platforms people already use. You have a unique life story. Start sharing it. Build an audience. Package your insight. Sell solutions. This is how attention becomes income, and income becomes leverage. You don't need to invent something new. You just need to serve a need better, simpler, faster, more clearly. Once you do, people will pay. Then you reinvest. Build a website. Build a course. Build a team. Now your skill is scaling. Now your knowledge is compounding. You are no longer trading time for dollars. You're building assets around your strengths, and those assets work when you don't. That's the key. You turn your ability into a product. You turn your time into systems. You turn your insight into value. Now you're not just earning, you're owning. The internet makes this easier than ever. You don't need permission. You don't need funding. You just need consistency. You can create content that builds trust. You can teach what you know. You can build a brand around your values. Then you monetize through products, through sponsorships, through partnerships. One person, one phone, one message. That's all it takes to start. You are the asset, but only if you treat yourself that way. Feed your mind, protect your energy, track your time, improve your skills. These are investments that never lose value. And once you package them, you build freedom, real freedom. Not just money in the bank, but control of your time, control of your output, control of your income streams. This is the foundation of the passive path. It starts with you. This is the foundation of the passive path. It starts with you, and it grows when you realize you are the machine that prints wealth. Not someday, now. Capital isn't the hard part. Trust is. Ideas are everywhere. Money is everywhere. What's rare is conviction with clarity. People don't invest in noise. They invest in structure. If you want to raise money, don't chase investors. Attract them. Show them something real. Show them something working. Even if it's small, even if it's scrappy. Results speak louder than slides. You don't need a perfect deck. You need traction. You need proof that you've done the work, that you've tested the concept, that you've taken risk before asking others to. Investors notice that. They want founders who bet on themselves, not people waiting for permission. There are 3 types of backers: venture capitalists, angel investors, public funding sources. Each has a different language. Each looks for different signals. Venture capital wants scale. They ask how big this can get. They ask how fast. They want a clear exit. They want a team that can grow with pressure. Angel investors want the story. They invest in the founder first. They look for obsession. They look for grit. They care about the why behind the idea. Government grants care about alignment. They want to fund innovation and support small business. They want you to fit their guidelines. Your job is to match your pitch to the right source. Don't pitch fast returns to a grant committee or social impact to a venture fund. Know your audience and tailor your message accordingly. This is what professionals do. Amateurs talk about dreams. Builders talk about numbers. Here's how to stand out. Start building before asking for support. Show early users, early sales, and testimonials. Even a waiting list counts, as it proves you've moved past the idea and are in execution, making you investable. Second, be clear about the use of funds. Don't say, "I need money to grow." Instead, say, "With $20,000, I can acquire 1,000 new customers at $20 each, with a projected return of $60 per customer in 90 days. That's concrete and compelling. Third, protect your downside by structuring deals that make failure survivable, for you and for your investor. That builds trust, as no one wants to fund desperation, but rather join momentum. You don't need to fake success. Show progress, even if it's small or early, especially if you built it without capital. This shows skill, resilience, and that you're worth backing. This is what capital follows: direction, evidence, and leadership. You don't have to look rich to attract investors. You have to look reliable, disciplined, and prepared. And when the money comes, stay sharp. Don't overspend, don't drift from the mission, and don't confuse funding with success. Funding is fuel. The vehicle still matters more. This is how you grow without losing your way and build wealth while keeping control. This is the next step on the passive path. Chapter 9: Mindset Shifts of the Wealthy. Wealth doesn't start with money. It starts with thinking differently. Poor people ask, "Can I afford this?" Rich people ask, "What's the return on this?" That one question changes everything. It moves you from spending to investing, from surviving to multiplying. Most people see money as something to hold. Wealthy people see it as something to move. Poor mindset says, "Save just in case." Rich mindset says, "Deploy to grow." One locks you into fear. The other builds freedom. Let's take an example. You see an online course for $500. One person says, "Too expensive." Another asks, "If this skill brings in $5,000, is it worth it?" Same product, different brain. Another shift. Poor mindset sees debt as danger. Rich mindset sees debt as a tool. The poor avoid all debt. The wealthy separate good debt from bad. Bad debt buys things that lose value. Good debt buys assets that pay for themselves. You borrow to buy a rental property. The rent pays the loan. The asset appreciates. Your net worth increases. You borrow to buy equipment for your business. It increases your capacity. You serve more clients. Revenue grows. Debt didn't hurt you. It accelerated your path. This is how the wealthy play the game. They use leverage. They use time wisely. They delay gratification. They aren't chasing dopamine. They're designing outcomes. Another shift. Poor mindset sees time as something to kill. Rich mindset sees time as capital. You don't waste time. You invest it. In learning, in building, in connecting. You treat your day like a portfolio, and every hour should yield a return, whether in skill, in clarity, or in opportunity. Here's the next shift. Poor mindset thinks money solves problems. Rich mindset knows money reveals problems. If your habits are broken, more money makes it worse. If you spend every dollar now, you'll spend every dollar later. The number changes. The behavior doesn't. Wealthy people fix the habit before the windfall. They practice discipline when it's hard. So they don't lose it all when it's easy. They don't chase lifestyle. They build infrastructure. They automate savings. They track numbers. They plan for taxes. They treat money like a business, not a toy. Another shift. Poor mindset waits for motivation. Rich mindset builds routines. You don't need to feel inspired. You need to show up, even when it's boring, even when no one is watching. That's how consistency compounds. And compound interest isn't just for banks. It's for actions, for habits, for decisions. Each one builds on the last. Each one shapes who you become. You stop chasing, you start creating. This is what the passive path is about. Becoming the person who thinks like the rich, acts with intent, and never waits for luck. You don't have to be born into money. You build into it, one thought at a time, one shift at a time. Chapter 10. What to do right now if you have $0. No savings, no investors, no connections. It doesn't matter. You still have something. Your time, your energy, your ability to learn fast. That's your capital, and it's enough to start. The first thing to do is stop saying you're broke. You're not broke, you're pre-leveraged. Every hour you waste is an hour you could build with, so use it. Start with skill stacking. Pick a skill that's in demand. Copywriting, sales, video editing, SEO, social media management. You can learn all of these for free. Use YouTube, use free blogs. Practice every day, then sell the skill. Start small, offer value, build a track record. Once you make your first $100, you're in the game. You don't need an office. You don't need a brand. You need momentum. You get paid. You reinvest. Buy a tool. Buy a book. Buy coaching. You level up. You charge more. You serve better clients. Now your time is more valuable, and your options expand. The second thing you do is build public proof. Document what you're doing. Write about it. Share your process. Start a simple blog. Post on LinkedIn. Upload videos. This builds trust. Trust turns into opportunity. You attract people who want what you're building. You get clients. You get partnerships. You get visibility. Third, create leverage with content. Every piece of content is a worker. It works while you sleep. It builds your brand while you're offline. Write one good post. It lives forever. Make one helpful video. It reaches thousands. This is time turned into scale, and scale brings income. You don't need viral hits. You need useful output. Do it every week, then every day. Then you build a machine. Next, stay lean. Don't rent space. Don't buy gear you don't need. Don't hire too early. Focus on profit. Focus on simplicity. Keep overhead near zero. Then everything you make is margin. That margin becomes fuel. Fuel for tools. Fuel for testing. Fuel for learning. This is how you build without capital. You become the asset. You build systems around your strengths. You don't wait for permission. You don't wait for help. You start with what you have, and you multiply. This is the foundation of the passive path. You can build wealth from zero, not by hoping, by working smart, by thinking long, by staying consistent. Your first goal isn't millions, it's movement. Get to $100, then $1,000, then $5,000. Stack wins, build proof. Turn your skills into income, then turn that income into freedom. You don't need money to begin, you need motion. You've made some money, now what? Don't rush, don't flex, don't upgrade your lifestyle too fast. This is where most people lose momentum. They treat their first big win like a finish line. It's not. It's just the starting point. The first step is to protect the capital. Separate your living money from your growth money. Don't mix them. Treat your savings like a business. Track what goes in, track what goes out. Give every dollar a job. Now look at opportunities through one filter. What brings a return? Not just financial return. Return in time, return in skill, return in control. That's what matters. Let's say you have $10,000. You could spend it on a trip, or you could invest in a skill that brings $50,000 over time. You could buy a new phone or launch a micro business that earns while you sleep. Every dollar is a worker. Put them in places where they don't rest. The next step is to build leverage. Buy tools that automate. Buy software that scales you. Buy systems that save you time. This creates freedom. Now take some of the income and reinvest again. This is how wealth compounds. Money makes more money when it's used intentionally. Let's look at smart ways to deploy your first serious capital. Option 1. Build a content machine. Hire an editor. Hire a writer. Start posting consistently. This builds brand. Brand attracts clients. Clients bring income. Option 2. Buy attention. Run small ad campaigns. Promote your offers. Test headlines. Track results. Learn the skill of converting views into cash. Option 3. Join a mastermind or coaching program. Only if it's result-driven. Only if there's accountability. Good communities collapse timelines. You skip mistakes. You get feedback. You stay focused. Another option. Invest in distribution. Email tools, CRM platforms, funnels. Automate how people find you, trust you, and buy from you. This creates a flywheel. Once it spins, it doesn't stop. You don't need to guess. You need to execute. Every dollar should do one of 3 things. Save time, grow your brand, multiply your reach. If it doesn't do that, think twice. And avoid one big trap. Don't invest to look successful. Invest to become unbreakable. No one sees your Google Drive full of systems, but they see your results. Keep it boring. Keep it scalable. Keep it profitable. This is how money becomes a tool, not a trophy. You build, you reinvest, you repeat, and the cycle grows. That's how you move from income to independence. Eventually, the goal isn't just to make more. It's to spend better, not for status, for significance. Wealthy people don't just buy things. They buy time. They buy peace of mind. They buy impact. When money no longer controls you, how you spend defines you. It becomes a mirror of what you value. Poor spending chases comfort. Smart spending builds systems. High-level spending creates legacy. Let's break it down. You start by buying tools. Then you buy leverage. Then you buy freedom. At the highest level, you buy transformation for others. That's where giving begins. That's where legacy lives. You've covered your needs. You've bought back your time. Now you get to ask a bigger question. How can my wealth serve beyond me? This is the stage where the wealthy fund schools, build charities, back foundations, not for applause, but because the return is meaning. They measure ROI in changed lives, not Jew. You've seen the real playbook, not the version built on hype, the one built on mindset, built on leverage, built on systems. This isn't about being lucky. It's about seeing the game for what it really is. Money doesn't start the process. Clarity does. You don't need a windfall. You need a direction. Every wealthy person you admire followed the same logic. They learned how to use their time. They learned how to use other people's money. They learned how to think in terms of systems, not shifts. They learned how to use other people's money. They learned how to think in terms of systems, not shifts. And now it's your move. You can stay stuck, or you can start stacking. You can chase, or you can build. The difference is what you do next. Don't let this be another video you just watched. Turn it into a plan. Track your hours, audit your spending, test an idea, package a skill, pitch a project, raise your bar. Then raise capital. Build your runway before you need to take off. Everything you need is already in motion. It's not about when. It's about how often you apply what you know. This is not about becoming someone else. It's about becoming the version of you that owns. Owns your time, owns your future, owns your decisions. If even one idea in this video sparked something in you, you're already on the path. This is the passive path, and now you know how to walk it.